My next guest wants to be the person that unites America and preserves its future and for future generations. I want to bring in now 2024 presidential candidate, former ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. Ambassador, there's a lot to cover on the economy and some other top issues, but of course, I've got to start with Nevada. Because listen, all the headlines showing that it was an embarrassment for you. What do you make of that? What happened there, and how does your campaign take that?
Well, I think you can look at any of the stories prior to this. I mean, we always knew Nevada was a scam. Trump had it rigged from the very beginning. There are multiple press stories on that. The GOP chair had been indicted, and they wanted us to pay $55,000 to just participate in their caucus. So we didn't spend a day or a dollar there. We weren't even worried about it. It's why we haven't talked about it. Our focus is on South Carolina, going into Michigan, going into Super Tuesday. Those are the places that we're worried about. We're not focused on Nevada.
All right, let's talk
we never were.
All right, let's talk about the issues then, okay? Beginning of the year, this is fantastic from AP. Who want the government to, what things that people want the government to work on? And what I love about this is it's a sliding scales. It shows what's moving and what's not moving. Always at the top is the economy. And let's talk about that for a moment, because in September, you put out an economic proposal, right? You call it the Freedom Plan, and it included a lot of things. The elimination of the federal gas tax, the reduction of income taxes, make small business tax relief permanent, and the certain tax deductions like SALT. With all due respect, these are sort of bumper sticker things. At this stage of the campaign, can you articulate how this puts money in someone's pocket, the average person out there? How do they really benefit from this? Because, again, they've heard it all before, and it's not resonating like maybe it had in the past.
Well, I think let's look at where we are. Look at where we came from. So everybody says we had a good economy under Trump. But at what cost? He put us $8 trillion in debt in just 4 years. Biden turned around and doubled down and put us in even more debt. Our kids are never going to forgive them for that.
If the country had to shut down, if the country had to shut down because a pandemic came out of left field, no one knew what it was, but the whole world shut down, would you, as President Haley, put any money into the economy? Would you do any deficit spending, or would you say, no, I won't, because a large chunk of what you're putting on Trump's plate came from an emergency that happens every 100 years or so?
No, Charles, it was only 25% of that was COVID. And not only that, they didn't even do it well. One out of every $7 was spent fraudulently. Over $500 billion in corporate welfare went out during COVID. I would not have given all that corporate welfare. I actually resigned from the board of Boeing because they wanted a government bailout, and Trump supported it. We don't need corporate welfare. That's what went wrong. They had no accountability in that. They put out corporate welfare. That's not how you get a country through a crisis. The way you get a country through a crisis is you reduce the size of the federal government. That's why we want to take as many federal programs as we can and move them down to the states. That will reduce the size of the federal government, but it will empower people on the ground. Think healthcare, think welfare, think education, think mental health. If you cut those strings and send it down to the people, that's what really makes things work. When you go into every agency, I'll do what I did as governor, send people into every agency to clean it up, pull down old regs, pull down bureaucracy, get rid of problem children, get rid of programs that don't belong. Government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. And now you've got all of this corporate welfare that we're seeing from both Trump and Biden. It's a problem. Look at the CHIPS Act. I opposed the CHIPS Act because you basically gave, all of this money to companies to build, to manufacture chips, but you didn't stop them manufacturing in China. So it made no sense. It didn't have any sense to it. We will roll back all the green subsidies from the Inflation Reduction Act.
And by the way, it's a fantastic point. I just made that in the intro. And American people are seeing through that. But let's go down this list a little bit. Foreign policy used to be 18%. It has rocketed to 38%. In your speech, you really talk about going after China. You've already mentioned China once here. But you talk about our secret weapon being freedom and things like that, or making America strong to deter China. China's in a real bad predicament right now. I actually am more afraid of a weak China being desperate. And here's the question. How far would you be willing to go as a President Haley to push back on China? Because I think whatever they had planned to do with respect to Taiwan and the rest of the world, I think that schedule's been sped up.
Well, I think you can look financially, they're not doing well. You see their government has become more controlling. They've been preparing for war with us
right
for
now.
years.
They're
That's
desperate,
no
so they
mistake.
may make a move. They may make a move. If they made a move from Taiwan to the second year in your administration, what would you do?
Well, first of all, the only way they're going to make a move in Taiwan is if Ukraine loses to Russia. That's always been what China has been watching for. If they see Ukraine fall,
I doubt that's the only reason.
when you'll see Taiwan move.
China's been talking about taking Taiwan from day one. This is not something that just came up over the last 2 years. They have insisted that Taiwan would be part of China for ever since the Chinese fled. Right, so this is not something that's brand new. It's just that the timeline, Xi wants to get this done in his lifetime. Their economy is suffering. He is desperate. He needs something like this. He needs a war to become more popular at home. If they had a war, if they invaded Taiwan 2 years into your administration, what actions would you take? And by the way, these economic actions that we've taken against Russia, I'm not sure how well they worked. Our economy was up 3.5% last year. Theirs was up 3.6%. We've got the rest of the world, the third world countries saying, hey, we don't want to be part of the SWIFT. So would you be willing to take real concrete actions?
Well, first of all, I think you have to look. China had a devastating loss when Taiwan elected a Democrat leader. I mean, that was a big win for freedom. It was a big win for democracy.
Right.
China
and by the
sees
way,
that.
it was a close election. It was a closer election than Nevada, okay? But you're not answering the question. Let me bring one more thing up because this is really critical. Immigration.
Well, Charles, wait a minute. No, wait. I will answer the question on Taiwan. First of all, you have to acknowledge the fact that you do have to see how China acts. I dealt with China every day. They're not going to be quick to take Taiwan. What we need to focus on is why are they buying the land in America? Why are they funneling millions of dollars into our universities? Why are they trying to kill Americans with fentanyl? Why do they continue to steal technology so that they can build up their military? You have to look at all of the factors that go into China. They're trying to do this. Why is the cyber? If you really want to worry about China, what you should worry about is the fact that they have the ability to hack our infrastructure at any given point, our grids, our water lines, everything there. That's what China is focused on. So, yes, Taiwan is an issue, but what they're looking at is making sure that we can't fight back. They don't want to fight us head on. And we also, the best way to protect Taiwan is to make sure they have the equipment that they need to defend themselves. That's the biggest thing, to get our alliances together. And then you look at Russia, and to say that Russia hasn't suffered, the reason Russia hasn't suffered is because Biden has not made sure that the sanctions are on. No one should be able to get oil from Russia, and they're continuing to get it.
13,000 sanctions. We don't want to press against India because we want them on our side, so we let them buy oil. These are real-world things. On paper, things sound great, but in the real life, if India's got a chance to buy cheap oil from Russia, they're going to buy it. I just got to ask you, because you put out a tweet earlier today.
Listen, I've dealt with India too, Charles. I got to say, I've dealt with India too. I've talked with Modi. India wants to be a partner with us. They don't want to be a partner with Russia. The problem is India doesn't trust us to win. They don't trust us to lead. They see right now that we're weak. India has always played it smart. They've played it smart, and they've stayed close with Russia because that's where they get a lot of their military equipment. When we start to lead again, when we start to get the weakness out and stop putting our head in the sand, that's when our friends India, Australia, New Zealand, all of them will, and Israel, Japan, South Korea, all of them want to do that. Japan gave themselves $1 billion stimulus to become less dependent on China. India gave themselves $1 billion stimulus to become less dependent on China.
It's going to take a lot
more
than that,
We need to start building up our alliances.
I don't disagree with
that.
that.
But you have to first acknowledge you have a problem.
But the problem is, to your point, India is smart, and they're playing both sides. Just moments ago, before the show, you put out a tweet. Republicans keep doing the same thing and getting the same results. Chaos. That's the definition of insanity this week. RNC imploded. GMP House can't pass anything. Trump lost another court case. Threw another temper tantrum. Vote for Trump is vote for more chaos. So what audience is this for, this tweet? What audience is this for?
It's for America. I mean, you look at the fact that here we have a country in disarray and a world on fire. I voted for Trump twice. I was proud to serve America in his administration. This is not personal for me. But you look at the chaos that has been caused. We lost a border deal yesterday. We lost an Israel aid deal yesterday.
Did you like the border deal?
The RNC... The border deal didn't go far enough, but Congress doesn't need to go home and leave it. And Trump didn't need to say don't do anything. They need to get in a room and get this right. It needs to include remain in Mexico. It doesn't need to have a 5,000 person threshold. And we do need to make sure asylum is tougher. So why is Congress allowed to leave? It's not a one and done. And for Trump to say don't take on the border until the election, America's acting like it's September 10th. We better remember what September 12th felt like. It only takes one to have a 9/11 moment. We've got to get our border secure. No more excuses on that. But you look, Trump lost his court case on getting immunity.
Right.
All of this chaos. The RNC chair lost her job. Trump had his fingerprints on all of that. We can't continue to be in this chaos. That's just a fact. And not only that, you will have a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Kamala Harris. If Donald Trump is named the nominee, look at any of those general election polls, he can't win.
Yeah.
He can't. We lost so many people in the Republican Party, independents, suburban women, all of them. You look at all of that. He can't win, and I defeat Biden by double digits.
It is sort of ironic, though, Ambassador, that you are trailing President Trump by a gazillion miles, and you're quoting polls. But I hear where you're coming from. I love this conversation. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I hope you come back. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Really appreciate it.
Go to NikkiHaley.com and join our movement to make America normal again.
All right, you got it.